Welcome to Brewbills. I'm Paul. I'm ready to get the cement board attached to the barbecue and fireplace structure. The gas and electrical lines are finished, and the structure's been wrapped with a moisture barrier. You ready? Let's do this! My plan was to attach the cement boards directly to the metal studs, but then I decided it would be better if the structure was watertight using some house wrap. So I installed some moisture barrier to the studs first. It's all finished, and I'm ready to attach the cement board. Be sure to check out the playlist on this backyard makeover to watch the entire process. Tools and items needed: cement board screws, a screw gun drill driver, an impact driver, a multi-tool, a utility knife, metal and masonry drill bits, thin set mix, mesh tape, a trowel, gloves and safety gear, and for me, a welder for some custom brackets for the fireplace mantle. I added some concrete board to the inside of the two outside cabinets. Hopefully this will help seal the storage cabinets and prevent dust and spiders from getting in them. I wanted to get this done before I attached the house wrap to the top of the barbecue counter. That way I'd have access into this area. On the brew scale, technical ability I rate as a novice. Just measure, cut, drill, install, and repeat. Physical ability I rate as difficult. There's a lot of drilling and driving of screws. I cut most of the bigger pieces when I was cutting the pieces that went inside the cabinets. Sealing the cabinets wasn't in my original count for concrete boards, so pre-cutting them gave me the ability to figure out how many more boards I was going to need. Cement board can be cut the same way as cutting drywall, by scoring and snapping it along a line, and using a utility knife doesn't create a bunch of dust like a saw. An easy way to cut the cement board is to place it on top of a pallet or workbench. Place the line where you want to cut it about an inch past the edge of the pallet. Using a carpenter square as a straight edge, run a utility knife along the square, scoring the cement board. This may take a couple of passes, especially along the edge guard. Once the entire length has been cut, push down on the edge of the cement board and it will snap along the scored line. To finish the cut, flip the piece over so you can run the utility knife along the crack. There is a fiber mesh under the surface that needs to be cut for the board to break into two pieces. Then clean up any rough edges with the utility knife. I've been trying to pre-bend this piece that I'll use for the curved portion of the fireplace. It's been a couple of days, hopefully it will stay somewhat bent when I take off the tie-down strap. There are some smaller pieces left over that I'll cut for the back side around the storage doors. And I have one more full-size board that I'll be using to cut the piece out that goes against the fireplace, and then the leftover L shape will go down here along the side. It would be easier to have a seam here, but I thought having this as one solid piece would help prevent stress cracks. Cutting an L shape out of a piece of cement board is the same process as cutting a straight piece, except you need to score both sides of the cement board. I'll measure, mark, and score the first side, taking a few extra passes through the edge guard. Then flip it over and measure, mark, and score the second side. Once you've cut through the fiber mesh and the edge guard on each side, it will crack and come apart easily. Of course, you can always use a saw with a masonry blade. I just prefer the no dust method. Unfortunately, I could only find cement boards that come in 5-foot lengths, so I'm about 12 inches short from the corner. Since there's only one metal stud where the cement boards meet, and a metal stud is thinner than a wood stud, I'm concerned that the screws might rip out the edges of the cement board. Probably I should be adding another stud, but I don't have any more left over, so I came up with another idea that I think should work just as well. I'm going to cut 2 tabs about 6 inches tall that will interlock with the next piece. That way the tabs will cover the full width of the stud, and I can keep the screws further away from the edge of the cement board. You will understand what I'm doing in a minute or two. I just need to mark exactly where the stud is on the house wrap, then I can transfer those measurements to the cement board. Here is the piece I've been trying to bend. I'll cut it in half and use each piece on the lower part of the curved wall. I'm hoping that pre-bending it will make it easier to screw in without breaking or cracking it. I had a difficult time finding cement board screws that would work with metal studs without pre-drilling. I ended up purchasing these. They say they'll go into a 20 gauge steel stud without pre-drilling, but I couldn't get these to work without drilling the hole first. Must be a different type of 20 gauge. This really slowed the process down when working inside the cabinets, using an old dull drill bit for the cement board and a newer one for drilling the metal stud. I started marking all the holes first with a pen, drilling the cement board, then changing out the drill bit and drilling the metal studs, finally being able to attach the cement board with a screw. Then I discovered a better way to do this, by using the screw to drill the concrete board, then drilling the hole in the metal stud, then attaching the screw. Using both my drill driver and my impact driver gives me the ability to do this without having to change a drill bit back and forth. I did find some metal stud cement board screws on Amazon that I can order if this still takes too long. I may do that anyways, just to find out which way actually works better. Time to start attaching some concrete boards. Four pieces had to be cut with a curve. To do this, I marked the curve on the cement board. Then using a 1/4 inch masonry bit, I drilled along the inside of the line about every 3 inches. Then played connect the dots with the utility knife, cutting along the line and each hole. After a couple of passes, I flipped the board over and played connect the dots again. And voila! cut holes in cement board for an outlet, mark the holes by either tracing the box from the inside or using a tape measure. Then drill the 4 corners using a 1/4 inch masonry bit and use a utility knife to score along the lines. Once the 4 sides are finished, then score a line from corner to corner making an X. Flip the board over and repeat the process. Now you can tap the center of the X with a hammer and the piece will fall out. Before attaching the cement boards to the front of the fireplace, I need to figure out how I will mount the mantel. It came with a mounting bar that the mantel actually will hang on. I was hoping to bolt this on directly, but the center frame of the mantel is hitting the bolt and getting in the way. Also, my wife asked if I could lower it 2 inches, so I'm going to make some brackets that will lower the mantel hanger 2 inches and give me some more clearance for the frame. I found some pieces of 1-inch steel that already had some slotted holes in them. I just had to cut them to size, round off the edges, drill a new 3/8 inch hole, then weld some 3/8 inch nuts to them, and finish them off with some spray paint. Let's see if these are going to work. I want these to be flush against the metal studs, so I'll need to make a couple of holes in the cement boards. I'll make some marks where I need the holes, then remove the boards. Attach the new brackets to the bolts, then attach the mantel hanger to the brackets. It's great finding these with a slotted hole. It saved me a lot of time and gives me some adjustability. To get the brackets in the exact position, I need to hang this upside down to clear the bolts. Once everything is tight and level, then I'll cut the bolts. To help secure the nuts, I'll add some Loctite to the bolts threads. Now I'll cut the bolts off flush to the nuts, reinstall the cement boards, and attach the mantel hanger in its new lower position. Make sure the mantel fits. And it's level. Looks good. Attaching the cement boards used up this entire box of screws that I purchased, all 575 of them. I did find some screws online that are for cement boards and will self-drill into a metal stud. These worked a lot better for this project, and I highly recommend them if you're doing this type of work. I used up this bag of 50 as well. I'll put a link in the description for you. They did slip out a few times and it was easy to overdrive the screws into the cement board, so be careful. But using these was a lot faster than having to deal with pre-drilling a hole. The last step for these cement boards is to tape up the joints with mesh tape and thin set. I'm using a non-modified mortar for cement floors, also known as thin set. I'll mix them up in this small mixing bucket. Use a low-speed drill or mix by hand to achieve a smooth paste-like consistency. Then let the mixer stand to 10 or 15 minutes, stir again and use, but do not add water. While this is setting up, I'll attach some fiber mesh tape over the seams and corners of the cement boards. Apply enough thin set to fill in the gaps between the boards and cover the mesh tape. If you've ever installed drywall, it's pretty much the same technique. I tried to bend the mesh tape for the corners, but I didn't have much success. I ended up putting the tape on just one side or both sides of a corner. I was able to get the mesh tape to stay on an inside corner. An outdoor barbecue or fireplace needs to have ventilation, so I added some vents to the top of the structure. This will be sealed when I add a roof to the pergola. I was able to stick some wire mesh in between the metal stud and the cement boards. I'll attach a nicer vent cover when I finish the stucco. The cement boards are finished. Up next for this project is the concrete countertops, then the stucco. I've also added some lighting for the barbecue area, and I'm planning on covering the pergola with a roof. Be sure to subscribe so you know when I upload new videos. And if this has been helpful, hit that like button for me and share a link with your friends. Thanks, and let's keep building.